Today I want to do a little botanical study here with hydrangea. I put a picture up of this little tray of dry hydrangea flowers that I picked in my garden earlier in the season. And the thing about hydrangea, it's just so beautiful. I started collecting them last year and I planted, I've got a good about 4 or 5 now. And yeah, I just love expanding the collection because they're so different. Some of them are more of a green hue, some of them are pinker, smaller flowers, bigger flowers, purple, even white. And yeah, I just love hydrangea. Now the other thing about hydrangea is obviously this is dry hydrangea and it still looks beautiful. When it is fresh, it's a completely different thing, and the flowers maintain so well after they dry. They literally keep like that. So if you pick it soon after it has dried off, and you won't let it sort of sit on the plant over the winter, you get a perfectly preserved, dried out flower, and you can see nothing is falling off. It's just beautiful. You can keep these under the dome so they don't get any dust on them. In fact, I'll show you a couple more I have. So here is an idea. So this is under the dome, and that way, you know, you kind of maintain it clean. But this one sort of has been had a few bits fall off, so I need to clean that up. So this is a needle felt teddy that I did, and I just put a little bit of hydrangea there just to decorate it, and he's in my room. I was planning to do more of these needle felted little teddies and toys, and at one point I even thought I might put them on ESSIE, but I don't know, they take a very long time to do versus yeah, the price that I would put onto these teddies. I'm not sure. Anyway, they are, though, needle felting is another craft that is fantastic for killing stress and anxiety. So that's one way of doing it. And then I also have an open dish where I keep these just like that, which again, they could have some dust on them, although looking at them, they are doing really well. Now, so here you can see these are more green and they kept the color, and these are more brown. So it all depends at which point you pick them and how sort of you want them to be. If you want them to look really vintagey and kind of this sort of burned look to them, then you can pick them later. Now let me show you what happens if you leave the hydrangea on the plant over winter. So one example I have sitting here, which is probably the worst of them because it's the least well preserved, but it's beautiful to look at because it's a different type of a flower. Sorry, the sun is in the way. It's actually just it's just around noon now, and I never usually get time to film around this time, but it's been going really well today, and so I decided to film this video. So yes, now these hydrangeas, you can see different flower, different shapes. So we will look today at different ways of illustrating them. Here, this one lost a lot of flowers, or petals rather, and so it has a lot of the skeletal kind of look to them. Now, so like I said, this is when you pick them at the right time, preserves really well. And then if you let them sit there over the winter, what happens is they become more skeletal, and you can see that all that is left there is just this beautiful skeleton of the petal, and they are gorgeous. Now this particular one has 4 and 3 petals, and they're just beautiful. So gorgeous. Then these are the bigger ones, and in fact these were the purple ones, so they're preserved quite well. And again, look at the beautiful, you can see through them, they're just so gorgeous. And particularly this one is very, very beautiful. It's like lace. and that's what happens to them. So you can, the longer you let them sit, the more kind of fragile and beautiful they become. So it's a great inspiration for painting. So if you have any hydrangeas in your garden, there you go. If you don't, maybe you can find some online shops that would sell them now, because yeah, we can't really go to any garden shops, everything is shut. So I'm struggling myself because I had to plant a few more things to finish off the garden this year, but that's at hold right now. So basically this is my collection, and then like I said, if you picked one with a nice long stalk, you can just put them into little pretty vases, and they make a great display around the house. Okay, so in terms of sketchbook today, I think I will be using this one, which is the Stillman and Birn hardcover wirebound sketchbook, which is great for flat laying your paper. This particular one is my botanical illustration or botanical studies and that sort of a thing sketchbook that I keep just purely for when I feel like looking at flowers or anything like, you know, vegetables, obviously the artichoke before. So that's where I have all of that stuff. If you remember, I think there are some there's some tutorials for these. Yeah, they're most of them I have tutorials of. Okay, so let's do it on this page, and it seems to be I'm working double-sided here, so let's do it. So I'm going to basically look at different shapes of the hydrangeas. I'll start with this one, and I'm just going to concentrate on the actual blossom rather than the whole thing. So here I can see the leaves are more rounded, and they look like this. Some of them have a curving because they're obviously dry, some of them are more flat. So I will try to... The thing about hydrangea, they are not easy to draw because there's so many of these flowers that are overlaying on top of each other, and so what happens, you might see one or two petals and the rest are kind of beneath another flower, and there is another flower, so there's layers, a multitude of layers of them. So I also quite like these very fainty light what would you call them? Stalks or something. So they're literally so fine, so beautiful, that I want to capture them. I hope you can see what I'm doing here. I really need to organize my studio yet again. I did it over the New Year's and that was great. I came in here every time feeling inspired, loads of space, and then just now it all got a little bit too busy again, and I don't like it. There's so little space on my desk for anything really. Okay, so I would say that we need to branch out into here, maybe just a little like that, and maybe just a little flower somewhere here with a different angle. Okay, so I think that should be better now. So I'll leave it at that. And then the next one, let's look at this one. This one is quite interesting because the flower is different. So the flower here that I can pick up on has longer, like more elongated. Now these are all kind of, most of them are broken up, so I don't have a full flower on most of the flowers, so I will have to use my imagination. There is one there. Okay, so if I just start with the dot and then kind of elongate it, so these almost look like little propellers. So these look like that, and then they have these sort of veining going around the leaf, or the petal rather. So something like that. And then let's do another one. Going to hide this petal underneath there. This one will have only 3, and then just another one. Let's play around here. Going to also hide this one underneath. This one goes like that, and like this. Okay, I think I will leave it just at the blooms here without any other addition of anything. And then the next one I want to look at is actually this one. This is gorgeous. So these are very, very small and very dainty. And from what I remember, they were pale pink. So these are all kind of very similar. They don't have a big variety to them. And in fact, they have more of this shape here, like that, to them. So it's a bit more pointier rather than rounded at the base of it. So let's do that. Or the tip rather, I meant. Like this. Some of them have 4 as well. So let's create a little flower here which has a 4. Try to vary the sizes of each petal so it looks a little bit more natural. And let's see, maybe another one here. Like that. And one more here, just sort of detached. Okay. It does have beautiful, so I think what I'm going to do now is just separate these into loads and loads of the branches type of thing. So like that. And again, we want those little bits here that attach to the flower. So if you pick them when they're fresh, you're not going to notice these areas because they won't have them. It's after the flower has finished blossoming and it's come off, then you get this. Like that. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that, and then we have this big boy over here, which is quite complicated. So I'm just trying to think what would be the better way of representing this. So I'll look at this one here. These are very curled, very dramatic, so I'm gonna try to draw them quite big. So here is one leaf that comes out like that. These are beautiful. Like this. And then the curling of the leaf. Then we have another one that's sort of nestling behind it, like so. And then it has a bit of a curve here. And then this big one, I also want to draw in this little hole, like that. And the curling of the petals right here. So that's it. So this one doesn't have anything, so I'm going to leave it like that because it's dried and broken. And then I do want maybe just another broken up right here. So this one has a beautiful shape to it. Like so. And then this one is going underneath. Like that. Okay, so this one is also going somewhere there. And I would just leave it at this. And here's something missing, so I might want to connect this and give it a friend. Let's see, so there's another one over here, which sort of has a beautiful leaf structure that is kind of hiding a little. And then okay, that will do quite nicely. All right. I would love to draw some of these that are very dried out, but they're so, you know, they will be very time consuming, so that might be for another time. So that's essentially, oh goodness, hope you could see anything. That's essentially how you draw different hydrangeas and how you study the shapes of them. So next thing I'm going to do is take a brush, and in here, in this dish, I already have some watercolors. So what do I have? Predominantly I have these two. So this is the Deep Scarlet and Aussie Red Gold. My favorite watercolors, as you can probably imagine. Right, so I'm going to start with this one. So this was a little bit more green, so I do need a bit of green. In fact, I have Hooker's green right on my desk, which I'm waiting, or I was waiting to do a bit of a review for you, or swatch video, because I got it as one of the last colors added to my collection. So Hooker's green will need to have some sort of neutralized thing to it, because we need a bit more, because on its own it's a bit unnatural, but it's a great color for mixes. With a bit of like a brownie or a yellow color, very quickly you can get a beautiful, beautiful green. Okay, so I'm quite happy here. Now, this was a bit more, on the green side. In fact, I need more water. Just going to move things around. I wonder if I should zoom in. Okay, I have zoomed in slightly in the hope that it will help us. I hope you can see better. It's just the sun. Can't really complain, right? The sun is shining, so it makes things a lot easier in life. So I'm not complaining, it's just for the purpose of filming. Okay, so just a little bit of watercolor. Now, when you're working with such a small flower, what's really important is the water control. So I'm just trying to add just the right amount, because as a study, this isn't meant to be like finished piece. As a study, this one is more of a looking at a flower and inspiring you to do a finished piece after that. So just go easy on that. In fact, what you could do is just touch a bit of water where you already painted, just to make the watercolor flow, and that kind of will fill the page nicely, or the space around it, without making it just look white. So just kind of, you know, softening things out. So next one, this one was quite brown, so I'm going to go ahead and mix up a nice kind of brown color. Okay, I'm super sorry. The camera tried to avoid the sun, and then I didn't realize it was completely off for you to see. So apologies for that. Now the next flower was very, very pale, so I'll try to see if I have any very kind of light color. So if you're looking at my palette, all I want is sort of like a peachy, almost very watery color. So that, touch a little bit of this red into that, so it's more peach. There we go. So quite watered out, and just like that. To keep things interesting, I would add a little bit of, you know, just mix the colors up so they're not all the same. Just by dabbing your brush here and there into a little bit of pink. And again, washing the brush and making sure there is water. We're going to touch it into a few areas where the watercolor is still wet and make the watercolor kind of come out. Just so you don't have these white areas in between. Okay. There we go. So this one was nice and easy, and what I would do actually is, while it is still wet, I would take like a precision brush and go into this color, this one here that we mixed up for this previous flower, and just dab it in the center. While the watercolor is still wet, it kind of will disperse and give you a bit of detail, but ever so slightly. And then when it's sort of dry in certain areas, you could just go ahead and create little lines. Again, they will soften as they dry, but you will have a little bit of detail. Okay, so that's enough for this one. And then we have this big one here. Let's have a look. I'm going to also go ahead and create more of a dramatic kind of brown, but a bit more red this time. Let's just see what happens. I don't want to be too precious with it because, like I said, it's a flower study, so we want to have fun. That's the whole, I guess, point of this. Just try to handle your brush in a loose way. Some of the petals you can touch, make the watercolor move into them. Oh my god, today's video is just so difficult to film. I need to make sure I film it in the right time, so I don't have the sun. Okay. There we go. This one is a bit more peach-like, so it's a bit more in the background. And then for the other one, I'll go even more peachy, because remember, this is quite dry, in fact. So what I'm going to do here with a clean brush, I'm just going to go ahead and touch certain sort of areas around it. Like that. And same thing here. Just very subtly and gently. Like that. And then I will go into the red. And just kind of, I mean, at this point it doesn't look dry anymore, but I don't think that this is my target. I don't need it to look dry. I just want it to be about petals and things. There's some beautiful backgrounds here. Let's see, maybe some of this yellow. Oh, that's too much. Yeah, I'm just going to wash my brush, make it wet. That's it. And then just on the paper. There we go, but here at the bottom. And I feel like I want some of that beautiful yellow here somewhere repeated. That's it. So when you want it to be softer, you just clean your brush out. That's it. Okay, so that's quite a neat little flower study, especially when you haven't, or in my case, I haven't done any flower studies in a very, very long time. And it's good to get into painting flowers. This is our hydrangea little study, and yeah, so try to focus on the different sizes, different shapes, different angles, and just learn a little bit about hydrangea. It's just such a fun little activity to do. So thanks for watching and see you soon.